What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Gueros SafeHouse. I'm your host, Güero, Jose Rodriguez, whatever you want to call me, but everybody knows me as Güero. Thank you for watching this right now, man. First of all, before I even start, I want to give a big shout out to our sponsors here today. Well, really just one sponsor here, but today this podcast is sponsored by Ruchi's Lost Apparel. As you can tell, I'm wearing one of his stuff. This is straight vintage from the '90s. I think of where it's from. But he knows I love Raider gear. Obviously, I'm all about the Raiders. That's my team. Win, lose, or tie. Raiders till I die. And yeah, so I got one of these. He got me one of these shirts. Like I said, from the '90s, is vintage. So if you like vintage clothing, if you're into any of that, hit on my boy Ruchi. Is what I call him, Ruchi with the fat coochie. I'm just kidding. Don't call him fat coochie because he'll get mad because I said that. But go follow his Instagram. I'll put that at the bottom. And yeah, check out his page. But this is the second episode. We're doing this. Man, I feel like it's been so long since I did the first one. I told myself I need to start being more consistent with this, and it's great because I already kind of have my guest who I'm gonna have on the show kind of lined up. I got a couple guests that I want to get on here, so on the next episode, hopefully, if everything works out, I got my first guest coming on. So I'm excited for that. I really am excited. But I wanted to take this episode to talk about certain questions that people have asked me and whatnot, and feel like some things I need to talk about. Ruchi, of course, I asked a question on my page about, things that people wanted me to talk about. And one of the questions that I felt like I should have talked about in the first episode was, he said, let me rephrase that. The question was, what makes Gueros SafeHouse safe? Basically, where I got that title from. Why did I come up with that? Why is it Gueros SafeHouse? And that's a great question. Like I said, I thought I talked about it in the first episode, but I didn't. So I'm going to tell you guys what that's about. So the reason why I called my podcast Gueros SafeHouse, back in 2000, I want to say like 2016, 17, 18-ish, 19 maybe. I had an apartment back home, back in Homewood, Alabama. For people who know, they know. I had an apartment by myself out there. And I didn't really think about it until later on that my apartment, I felt like, was a safe house for a lot of people. I had a lot of people come over, friends, people who I wasn't even that close with, but people would come over because I felt like they needed somebody to talk to. I can invite just one friend over and we'll kick it, but it ended up being something more meaningful. So I was like, okay, maybe they just wanted to come over because they needed somebody to talk to, somebody to vent. I've always felt like I've always been that person for somebody, which is so crazy because I always wanted to be a therapist. That was always been my thing, which hopefully, maybe I go back to school for. But a lot of people would come over to talk, and whether it's just I could just get a message, be like, "Well, man, I've been going through this and that." I was like, "Well, okay, come on over. I got this, I got that for you." I would have food ready for them. I order some pizza or whatever. I would have drinks. Man, even for some, I would have other things for them. Just to kind of make them feel comfortable and relax and stuff. And they would just be there and just be talking and just talking and talking. I would just be there to listen because that's one of my favorite things is listening, which is why I want to do this podcast because I love listening to people's stories, people's testimonies, what people have been through, what they're going through, and just great conversation because I think that's so important. So, when people would just come over, again, it'd be people that maybe I'm not even that close with. But I always felt like my place was a safe house. And that's what I always inspired to have because, back even when I was a kid, my house would be the place where a bunch of my family would come over. We would go to somebody's house for parties every Saturday. There was food or something at somebody's house. And that's what I always want me as a person. I always wanted my house to feel like that place that you can go to when you have nowhere else to go. A safe house, a place where you just feel secured and you feel comfortable and no one's going to judge you and no one's going to make you feel some type of way, that you could just be there and be yourself. And that's what I still grow up to be. Like, I hope when I have my house, a nice house with my family and whatnot, that my house can still be that. I could have people over for holidays, or if someone's going through a rough patch, they can come and stay in an extra room because they don't know where else to go, where they can find that peace, that comfort, a place called home. That's where I feel like that's what I really want. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't even matter the place, the building. It's the person that's in it, or the people that's in it. So I always want to make my home, my place where I live, a safe house for others. So that's the reason why I call it Widow Safe House. Because, and it's funny because on the logo it looks like a little trap house, and I made it like that because I was living in the ghetto and doing ghetto things and whatnot. But on the outside it looked crappy, but on the inside is what mattered. And that's how everything is, right? Something could look really crappy on the outside of it, but it only matters what's on the inside. So that's why I call it Widow Safe House. And again, when Ruchi told me that or asked me that, I was just like, dang, I didn't think I thought I talked about that already. So there you have it. That's why I call it Widow Safe House. And I hope my podcast can still be that for other people. Again, like, I hope if people who need a voice, or people who want to be heard, or what they're going through, they can just come to me and be like, hey, I got some things on my mind I want to talk about. I feel like people need to know. If it's something that I feel like people need to know, or they want to have that voice, someone who I trust or close, I'll be like, come on, let's talk about what's on your mind. Because I do believe that conversations are important to bring community together, and me, since I just got, really close to God and whatnot, that's one of the most important things is community. It's the church, not the physical church, but the church is the people. It's surrounding yourself with like-minded people, and sharing his word and talking about him and whatnot. Because, man, when I tell you, when I read the Bible, especially right now, like I'm reading Matthew again. I've read Matthew like 2-3 times already. But as I go back in, it talks about the story of Jesus and whatnot, his upcoming and whatnot, what he went through, his stories and the miracles that he did and whatnot. He just talks about a lot of things. And right now, I was talking about my favorite verse. One of my favorite verses, Matthew 6:25, where it talks about, do not worry about anything, about what you will eat, what you will wear, or anything, because if he could care for the birds, if he could care for all the other things in nature and flowers, if they could still be up and alive, what makes you think he won't care for you? So, I do just believe that sharing his word is so important. Again, I might be talking to people who aren't in the same boat as me, who don't believe in God and whatnot, and that's okay. I have no problem with that. Again, my beliefs are my beliefs, and when I feel like the Holy Spirit's talking to me to talk to somebody about God, it will happen. But other than that, it doesn't mean that I can't talk to anybody. I would love to talk to people, again, from different walks of life, different mindsets, different beliefs, everything, because the power conversation is so important. At the end of the day, we're still all humans. There's really only one race, and that's the human race. And I believe that we're supposed to be here on earth to love each other, love one another. That's the most important thing. So I truly believe that. And whoever comes on my podcast and wants to talk again, I have so many guests that I want to get on, and that I've talked to already about putting them on. So I hope once that starts, it's just going to go great. And I'm going to need to get some new gear, because I just realized I took my case off my phone, and apparently my phone screen is cracked. Not screen, sorry. The back of my phone is completely cracked. And I'm just like, what happened? And then I thought about it when I dropped it at work. I'm like, oh, that happened. So I can't really be using my phone as much. So hopefully I can invest a little bit more on some stuff. Maybe, headphones, a better microphone and whatnot. But hey, you got to work with what you got. You got to be grateful for what you got. And I'm very grateful I have this little stuff, just to work with. But it's only going up from here. So, and here we have our first guest is Duchess. Duchess. So let's talk about it, because you are technically the first guest. Don't lick it though, girl. I'm sure you came with your habit. Sit. Look, she's such a good girl. She just wants my love and attention. So what do you want us to tell everybody? Great. So I was thinking about that too. All right, come on. Let's stop this. Hold on. Sorry about that. Thank you, Duchess, for being part of this. One thing I did want to talk about that I felt like was really important, is how, like I was kind of mentioning earlier about the power of community, right? Of the people that you surround yourself with and whatnot. Look, anybody who feels like they're alone in this world, they feel like they have no one to go to. I promise you, you are not alone because I've been through that. I've felt before what it feels like to not have nobody to feel that way. But it's so important to surround yourself with like-minded people, to surround yourself with a good community, with good people who actually care about you. And I promise you, to anybody out there who doesn't really believe that there's no one there for them, I promise you there is. There is at least one person out there that cares about you. If you can't find them, come to me because I will care. Because again, I know what it's been like to feel like no one cares about you. It just really is important to surround yourself with a good community, with good friends, with loving friends, man. And I'm truly blessed to say that I have come across some great people that are still in my life, that have been there for me, and I don't even have to talk to them. That's the greatest thing about a friendship, is that you don't even have to talk to them every day. I have my one of my best friends, Isaac. Shout out to Isaac. Uh, I don't talk to him every day. I probably talk to him. I shit you not. We probably talk. There's sometimes where we talk maybe once or twice a month, and it sucks sometimes, because I love my homie, man. One of my best friends. He was the first person that I met when I moved to Alabama. Like literally on the first time, I moved to Alabama in the summer of May, 2008. Summer 2008, and I was there for the summer, whatnot, whatnot. It was in Hoover, Alabama, and I remember getting on the bus. I was wearing this Atlanta Braves jersey. It was like an old jersey. It was definitely like a bootleg kind of jersey. Some South Pole shirts, if you know, you know. And I can't remember what shoes I was wearing, but I looked all like cholo-ish, right? Like I looked all uh, just not that person. I was just looked like a whole cholo. Like I looked like I definitely was not from Alabama. I remember I got on the bus on my first day of school, and I sat like on the third, maybe fourth row up in the front because, of course, I don't know anybody. What am I gonna do in the back, right? And there was another kid, on the other side of the aisle, just sitting down, and he kind of like looked at each other and whatnot, and just recognized each other. And I remember he came up to me and he was like, "Hey, bro." I was like, "What up?" He's like, "Hey, are you Mexican?" I was like, "Yeah, why?" He's like, "Damn, you look white as fuck." I was like, "Oh, wow." And that was the start of a great friendship. Been best friends since high school. So it's been now, let's see, 2008. So 12 years, 20 plus 4, about 16 years now. 16 years I've been best friends with Isaac. I was the best man at his wedding. Uh, and, we even had some rough times in the beginning of it. But I don't talk to him as much as I would like to. He has his own business, his own brick masonry business and whatnot. He's doing really great. He's actually one of the first ones that got me close to God. Because of him, I remember him telling me that, hey, to give myself 1 year to dedicate myself to God. And that thought always stuck in the back of my head. But it really, if it wasn't for him, my first steps into to following Christ probably would have happened, or it would have delayed longer. I would have probably been dead or jail, locked up because of the things that I've done. And it's so important to have close people that you care about. And anytime you have an interaction with somebody, just be positive, be loving, be caring, because you don't know what people are going through. You don't know what struggles people are going through. Be nice to people, smile to people, give a compliment to a random person when you walk past by them. That might change their whole life. Surround yourself with good people. I'm blessed to have the family that I have. My sister Lucy, who I love so much. Uh, my nephews and nieces that I care about, man, and my best friends that I have back home. Even the people that I met here in Colorado. Just certain people that I come across with, like it's just great. It's always good to leave an impact on people. It's so important to leave an impact on people because you don't know what your love and kindness can do to others when you rub off on them. So that's one thing I always try to make clear as a message is never let anybody stop you from being you and being that loving person, being that caring person. And the thing is that I know so many loving and caring people who are like just so sweet and heartful. I'm not going to say any names, Dakota, but who are like, they're such a loving person when you get to know them, but they're so antisocial. They're so like I don't want to talk to people because people make me uncomfortable. And I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who have social anxiety or just not a people, pleaser, talker, or whatnot, which is fine. I get it. But if you're like that, which is okay, if that's how you are, you don't know how much you can affect people if you just kind of broke out of that shell. And I always tell Dakota, like, man, you need to get a TikTok because the videos that you send me or that you post are freaking hilarious and they would make somebody smile because of the way that you are. And she's so shy. She's not convinced. She won't do it. Honestly, she probably would have had 1 million followers because of the way that she is. I know a lot of people who, man, when you just see certain people on social media who post some stuff, you're like, how could they be famous? And I'm not trying to judge on people's success and whatnot. At the end of the day, like if you got 1 million followers, kudos to you. That's cool. Whatever stuff that you're posting, you post that, right? But I'm just like, if there's people like certain people who can post things, at least for me, that I don't find funny or whatnot, but could just get likes and views and comments and whatnot. What about the people who are really meaningful, who are actually putting out a positive message, or who are just a great vibes, who are naturally funny, don't have social media? There's a lot of people that I see on TikTok who I follow who don't have that many followings, but their videos are so impactful. Like whether they talk about God or whether they talking about, just being a good person and just trying to be positive and spread positivity to others. Like that hurts me. I wish a lot of people could, be that way, because this world is evil. We do live in an evil world. Social media itself is just toxic, and we as humans have allowed ourselves to live in that, to be consumed with it. And don't get me wrong, I'm the same too. I'm consumed by social media. I'm on my phone, and I've been telling myself I need to calm down with being on my phone so much because it's mind controlling. To anybody who's addicted to their phone and just always scrolling on their phone, try to not be on your phone for 30 minutes to an hour and watch how you turn to a crack addict. Like you just want to be on your phone because it's such a natural thing. So I tell myself I definitely got to stop doing that because again, it can mess with your mind. It can mess with your self-esteem. It can mess with your health even. So I feel like that was just really a message for me. But yeah, a lot of people. I had some friends tell me that when's gonna be the next episode out, and I'm like, it's coming. But then I'm just like, what do I talk about? Because I don't know. Uh, I mean, there is a lot of things I could talk about. There really is. I mean, it's hard for me to come up with a topic to talk about now because my mind, I feel like, has changed so much. But that's why I want to have, guests come through. So definitely, like I said, I got some people lined up. Hopefully on the next episode, which shouldn't take too long. I really hope it does not take forever to get a video out. I really want to try to be consistent. Just I know I can make all the excuses in the world to not make a video. Gotta be like, oh, I'm tired and my butt hurts or whatever the case may be. But my goal is to try to get at least 2 videos a month, if not more. My minimum should be at least 2 videos a month. And then I think about it, I'm like, all right, I gotta find 2 people every month for a video. Which it shouldn't be hard. But in Colorado, I only know so many people and who are willing to be in a video because, again, I could ask them, be like, hey, you want to be on my podcast? And then people be like, no, I don't want to say nothing, this and that. And I'm just like, man, it doesn't matter, dude. It's just conversating between 2 people. It's not like we have to find a certain topic to talk about, which there are certain people who I do want to have a talk about. Like I have one person, just a little preview that, he's a great person, man. Just a great man, and he's told me somewhat of his testimony, and I would love for him to share it on here. But he's been through, like divorce and all that stuff, and I feel like a lot of people can relate to that who have been through divorce, who have been through marriage or whatnot, who are even in a struggling marriage maybe, and the stuff that he's been through and whatnot. It was mind blowing, right? I was like hearing, I was like, nah, like this all really happened. And it's funny because when he was telling me everything, he was just like, man, I could go so long about everything, like detail. He didn't even tell me the detail. It was just the surface part of it. And I was just like in there. I was like, yo, what the is going on? So I can't wait to have him on here. I've already talked to him about it and he's willing to do it. So he's going to be a great guest on here. That one feel like it's going to be a long one too. But hey, I'm excited. I really am. I'm excited for what's to come. I'm excited for the guests that I will have. A lot of things are coming soon, different changes in life and whatnot. So I just hope that everybody who continues to watch me and go on this journey with me, man, I appreciate every one of y'all. My last video, I thought I saw like a little bit of 100 views. I was like, okay. I feel like 10 of them were mine because I re-clicked it and restarted it and went back like a couple 10, 20 times. So a quarter of those views are mine, but I appreciate all the comments that people leave, all the likes and everything. I really do appreciate all the support, and I hope you guys can continue with the story for me. But yeah, that's all I got for today. So on to the next episode. I appreciate you guys for watching. Give my stuff a like, a share, follow, subscribe. Tell your friends, tell your mama, tell your baby mamas, tell your step mamas, tell your grandbaby mamas, tell your mama's moms, your mom's moms, and your daddies too. Don't forget your daddies. So everybody have a great day. Stay up, stay blessed.